Hello everyone, welcome to my weird and wonderful world. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about myself and a little bit of other things. So let's start from the beginning of my birth. I was born on January 7th, 1971. Incidentally, it is the exact same age as the actor Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye. My favorite movie of his is Tag. I really liked him in that. But yeah, when I found out that he was my birthday brother, it would be a it would be a wish of mine if I could just a 5 minute conversation with him, just to let him know how cool I think he is, that I liked him in Tag, and that we're birthday brothers. It would be more special if it was actually on our birthdays. So if anybody out there who with the 6 degrees of separation could pass a message on to Jeremy Renner that I'm his birthday brother and I'm a big fan of his. I always liked him ever since I saw him in the Hurt Locker. But yeah, me and Jeremy Renner were birthday brothers. Now, I was born here in Moncton, New Brunswick, but as a young baby, when I turned around 1 years old, we moved to a place called Kokang, which is pretty a little north on the shore of New Brunswick, and we lived there for at our grandparents' place for about 8 years, and then we moved up to Bucktush for 2 years. We came back for maybe another couple of years to Kokang, and then in about 1983, I'm pretty sure I remember it was 1983 that we moved back to Moncton and almost pretty much grew up the rest of my my teenage years, and my 20s were here in Moncton. But then when I turned 2 days before my 30th birthday, I decided that I want to go and spend time in Montreal. I want to live in Montreal because it's just a cool place. I I needed to get out of Moncton. Moncton was just kind of going nowhere, and I needed something. I needed something more in my life. I needed to go and find myself. I needed to explore certain concepts and ideas of my existence, and I found it. Oh yeah, I lived up there for about 10 years, and it was the best decision I ever made. It was the greatest time, even at the lowest of times. It was still, I always felt it was still awesome that I was in Montreal. It was the first time I ever seen a subway system. It was the first time I ever seen super tall buildings. I got to know that city. There were a few years where I would get a bicycle and really go and explore as much of the city as possible. Every weekend, I would try to go and find a new park to visit. And be sure, I'm going to have a lot more stories about Montreal to come. Absolutely, because I had such adventures up there, some crazy adventures, and those are great stories, and I do want to tell them. And you'll be the when I do that, you'll be the first to know. Now, my siblings, I have two younger brothers, no sisters. I actually work with my youngest brother right now. He's sort of the one that kind of got me the job there once I kind of left the movie theater where I was working for another 10.5 years. About that, just quickly to say about that, when I first moved back from Montreal to Moncton, one of the first things I needed to do was find a job, and I remember that day very very vividly. That I was handing out. I looked ragged. I went to the industrial parks. I went to a lot of different places handing out. I had like 50 of them, handing them all out. I didn't want to do any restaurant work. I didn't want to do any kind of like pointless grunt work. But the very last place I visited was the movie theater. And and the manager happened to be outside on the side of the building having a smoke, and I must have looked ragged when I came up to him. I handed him the my very last resume, and didn't think anything of it. But thank goodness, like not even a couple of days later, he called me, and then I got probably my favorite job that I ever had, the funnest job I ever had. I will tell a story of why I left the movie theater, but that's another story for another time. Now, to get back to my siblings, yeah, I work with my youngest brother. We get along great. He's a great guy and everything, and I'm not going to be telling too many stories about my family life, not yet, especially nothing really personal or but the middle child, okay, my other brother, which I'm not going to name because just kind of protects his anonymity a little bit. He's kind of a street thug in a way, on like living on the streets, kind of into drugs. He lies, cheats, and steals. And as you know, I don't do any of that. He's always trying to say that I'm better now. I'm better now. But you can always tell by looking at him that he's not better. He always looks ragged. He takes things so offensively. He's argumentative. He'll argue about the stupidest things. He thinks the stupidest things, and he says the stupidest things. And me and my youngest brother, we really don't want anything to do with him because he's just because as much as we love him, if he was just if he was just a stranger, like we would never be friends because that type of personality is toxic, and it's just instead of you being able to bring him up to your level, he does everything he can to try to bring you down to his level. Thanks to him, I have become immune to guilt trips. I don't like guilt trips, and whenever I see a guilt trip happening, yep, I'm immune to it. Now, I want to switch gears and talk about my how I where music came, where my inspiration for music, how growing up with music in my life, it was from my dad. Just beginning right from the time I was born, my dad would listen to the oldies, the golden oldies. He loved those old 50s and 60s music because my dad was born in 53, and yeah, listening to Casey Kasem and Wolfman Jack show, it really did at the very beginning influence a lot of my taste in music, and of what good music was, because that is really good solid pop music in a way, like rock and roll and all that good stuff. I love so much of that, and I'm going to show you more of that in my music collection. I do have some pretty great stuff for that. But eventually also it came around with my uncle Frankie. Francis, but yeah, we call Frank. And it was him that first brought over the Kiss record, which became my favorite band for the whole makeup era. And specifically with the last song, Black Diamond, the way that it would just kind of that get deeper and slower, and it was like it came from another world. It was like something that came from another planet. And so much of the bizarre things, and like the bizarre music that I like comes from my uncle Frankie. My dad had more of a mainstream, acceptable type of music that he loved, but my uncle Frankie introduced a lot of the strange music in my life that really influenced, it really influenced especially with the Bruce Hack. I don't. My uncle says he didn't. It wasn't him that brought that record into our household. So I have no idea where that came from. But that really influenced a lot of my musical taste. Which is why I'm into Devo and Captain Beefheart and Dick Hyman and all those great weird albums that I own. And yeah, that's that's how that came about. Where my taste of music came from. Now I want to talk a little bit about my personal philosophy of life, of how I see myself in this world, and kind of my beliefs. Because I'm not, as you may or may not know, I'm not a religious person, and I'm not a strong believer in faith and stuff like that. I really do have feel a sense of spirituality, but where that spirituality comes from, and it's okay if you disagree with me, if that's not what you believe, I I can accept almost anybody's beliefs as long as it's not harmful to to people or anything like that. I feel okay. If you think about look at the cosmos, our galaxy, for example. Think of it as a giant magnetic disk that in the center, that great center of the Milky Way, is like a magnetic storage device that has all the accumulated information and understanding, because it's like like, and that we on Earth, we are multi-dimensional beings tuned into this one frequency of our physical beings in order to experience this world and this lifetime in the way we can, to get and to try to learn as much about our existence as humanly possible, so that we can maybe take it to another level after we pass. That's kind of how I see it. I am not going to say that I'm right or wrong, and the things that I believe in, it doesn't matter that if other people believe in it. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to convince anybody of what from what they believe. I think people should believe whatever inspires them and helps them deal with the reality as it is. So whatever you believe in, good for you, and don't change your beliefs upon what I'm saying. This is what I feel, the concepts and ideas that I subscribe to. Take a little breath. I don't want to talk too fast. Now, having said that, yeah, I believe that being multidimensional beings, we have somehow the ability, like a radio station, to tap into that frequency, the vibrational frequency coming from the cosmos. And if your channel is tuned into a higher, fast vibrational frequency of peace, love, and understanding, then that's the frequency we're going to get. And the tuning is all to do with in the way we think and the way we feel. That when you tune yourself to that frequency, you're going to get those waves. And if you're tuned down to a lower, more dense frequency of hate and just negative feelings, then that's the station that you're going to being tuned into. Doesn't mean that the other station has gone or vanished. It's just that you're not tuned into it. So believe what you must, and take it with a grain of salt. I'm not here to, like I say, I'm not here to preach anything. I'm just relating what I believe in. Now I'm going to switch gears again and tell you more about my future plans, of what I'm like, personal future plans, about how I'm now that I quit smoking the green and everything, and I'm taking a new stance on my health. Like I said before, I am not going to be eating as hot of a. I'm not going to be eating wings that hot ever again. No, no, that was just too much of the limit. Like I said, also my aunts and uncle had seen that, and they were kind of scared for me. So I don't want to worry them. So I won't be doing that. I really will be taking care of myself as much as I can. Try to be safe at work. Try to keep the physical aspects of myself going. Like I bike to work and back every day. I don't drive a car. In fact, I'm not a big fan of cars, and I will want to make a video of a little bit about that eventually. My relationship with automobiles. But yeah, I try to keep fit. I try to except for my a knot that I have in my shoulder here and a little bit of tightness in this arm here. I pretty much still really have the energy and physicality of somebody in their late 20s. I'm still very active. I'm very perky and go getter, and I want to stay that way as long as I can. I walk really fast when I do walk. People usually ask me to slow down because I gained that kind of pacing when I lived in Montreal. For some reason, that's a pretty fast city, so that's where I kind of adopted that get up and go and because when I was in Montreal, it was the most peaceful, the most meditative that I was ever. I really got to find myself the way I wanted to in Montreal. I'm still learning. I'm still just trying to discover who I am and what my purpose here in life is, like anybody else. And and pretty much that's all I have to kind of say about that for now. Remember, I'm going to be telling more stories and more. I'm going to be doing more videos of this type. I'm which now I'm going to talk about my YouTube future plans, because I do still want to continue doing the most CD culture show and tell, because I still have a lot of interesting albums I want to show you and everything. So talking about that for a moment, so a little side note, I want to promote the whole idea and concept of preserving the tactile nature of the physical form. I'm not a big fan of digital media. I mean, I'm using it, to serve a certain purpose and everything, but I really don't like Spotify. I don't like the digital form. I will get a phone eventually before the year's over. That is on my list of things. Only mainly so I can take video out there in the wild and show you some really interesting things here and there. I want to get the camera outside, but I can't bring my computer with me because it won't survive outside. I really hate moving my computer because I want it to work. I want it to keep working the way it is. It gets wonky. You can test. I can testify from my very last video where I called myself an idiot, because I can be a bit of an idiot sometimes. Absolutely. I'll just show you a little example. Hold on one second. Right now, again, this is still in my player. I play it every day. From there, it's the latest Sparks album, and I did a review of it and everything. And I can't get enough of this. When they say it's a masterpiece, it's a masterpiece. But what I want to display is I'm holding this album here. The sound quality is still amazing. is recorded louder than most of my other CDs, but it sounds amazing. I love that I don't have to turn it too loud for it to sound great. It sounds so great. Now the thing about having the physical, and this goes equally with people, contact the con. We have to. I'm not a fan of what I call phantom music, the online digital music. I don't find the quality is as good. I find I just don't want to. I just don't want to. I don't download anything off my computer. I'm not a big fan of downloading things. I know people. That's how they make their business. That's how they make their their living and stuff. But no, that's not how I want to do it. So using the physical form, I love that I can be able to take this. I can open it up, and the lyrics are right here and everything. And that goes double for movies too, because with movies on DVDs, you can easily, if and you gotta start putting more special features in your DVDs too, because I love that. I love being able to get that second disc, put that in, and watch the special features. I like being able to go and press a button and have the commentary there for the movie. That, because I remember the first time I saw a DVD movie, and I'm pretty sure one of the very first DVD movies I ever saw and owned was Jurassic Park. I don't have it now. I since lost it from moving to Montreal and everything. But watching those special features to Jurassic Park was just like mind blowing. It was just it was the coolest thing in the world to me. I implore all you manufacturers out there, do not stop making CDs. Do not stop making LPs. Because it's just fabulous, and you got to preserve the collector mentality. I'm a collector. I like collecting things, but I want to be very specific with what I collect and everything, because it's the tactile, it's the contact. We as human beings, we need more contact, and contact with social media and everything, with physical media or with people in general. That contact is becoming a wider and wider and wider and wider gap. It's too big of a gap. We need to bring that gap together again. So contact. I can't say it enough. We need to be able to we need to connect. We need to connect with the true spirit of being. Preserve the humanity, because I feel that the humanity and the humanities are slowly fading away, and the whole idea of AI starting to be prominent in what we do in the media and everything. It's a little concerning to me. It's a little, yeah. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's cool in some ways, and it's astonishing and interesting, but I really don't want to see it replacing humanity, human beings. We have emotions, we have feelings, we have the things that make us awesome. We need to come together as a people, and just start living again, instead of being just some. That's why when I do my videos here, I want to be real. I want to be personal and conscientious to everybody who is out there watching this. I don't want to give you like I said, I could ham it up. I could be someone to just kind of like exaggerate. I don't like exaggeration. And sometimes I still love their channels and I still love what people do, but I think that little bit of exaggeration to a small degree can be helpful, and I agree that I don't mind that. But sometimes it's just a little too much of an exaggeration. You're not really seeing the actual person. I feel it's more of a fake affront. You're not getting the true person, and I think that is something that needs to happen more in in multimedia. We need to have the true personality and the few and just again contacting the humanity, just embracing the feelings and the beating of the heart. It understands what's real and what's not real. Now, having said that, this is a re-recording, of course, of what I've done this video before. I felt that I can improve upon it. People were saying, "Well, you should publish that other video that with the low volume, anyways, because if you feel passionate about it and if you feel that it's good, people will understand." But I can't do that to you guys. I don't want you having to crank your volume up just to try to hear what I'm trying to say, because it was super low, and I knew if I could redo it again, this video will be a little shorter. I'm at like almost 27 minutes in right now. My other video was 40 minutes long. So I kind of condensed it up a little bit. I did polish it up a lot more. I eliminated saying some things I shouldn't have said the first time. So I'm actually a little bit more happier about how this video is turning out so far. So now, having said that, before we get to the 30-minute mark, I'm actually going to let you go now. Please, you're going to see more videos coming up for sure, for sure. I want to make even another video today. Now that I fixed my microphone and everything, as you can see in my last couple of videos. So from here on in, I'm going to just say goodbye to everybody. Well, later, not goodbye, later. So everybody, please be safe, take care, have a good day, evening, night, wherever you may be, and I will see you on the flip side. Have a good one, everyone.